The new car market is collapsing, and what are buyers choosing to do? With prices on SUVs like this Wrangler 4-door Sport of $66,000, or full-size pickup trucks like this Laramie Dodge Ram product here, 24 Ram 3500 Laramie Crew Night Edition for $114,000, and a mid-spec SUV vehicle like this. Here we have a Durango RT all-wheel drive vehicle, and this one's going for $76,000. But this doesn't begin and end with products from Stellantis. We're seeing Toyota jacking up some of their prices. Even the new Supra is going up significantly. Cadillac's bumping up prices, and almost every manufacturer is raising their MSRPs to outstanding levels that we've never seen before. So what's going on? Why is the market crashing and they continue to rise the prices? What are these consumers deciding to do instead of buying these new expensive vehicles? Well, we know electric vehicles aren't selling very well. Chevy is backing off some of their plans. Ford also backing up plans and reducing the output of the sales of a lot of their electric vehicles like the F-150 Lightning as well as the Mustang Mach-E. We're also seeing poor sales by Jeep products like this, and we have a Cherokee L Limited 4x4, and this one here is $79,000. They're not selling very well either. Brand new cars aren't selling well either. Toyotas and Hondas are just about the only manufacturer producing cars these days. With Toyotas like that, there's enough sedans to go around. The market just does not call for it. People aren't buying these vehicles. Challengers, Chargers are being eliminated. They're going pure EV, or they're going away altogether. And as well as GM is finally getting rid of the Malibu. It's a clear indication nobody wants cars these days, at least on the new car market. And while Ford's bragging that they're selling more trucks than almost every other manufacturer, the reality is year over year, you're seeing Ford pickup truck sales of the F-150 drop like a rock. And then you're saying GMC and Chevy saying that they've sold more vehicles collectively than Ford altogether. Yes, that's two brands in one. And even full-size brand new GM pickup trucks have seen sales decline over the last 10 years dramatically. Ram pickup trucks can barely even sell a vehicle. I've seen vehicles 22, 23, and 24 model years. Clearly full-size pickup trucks are not selling well. Toyota Tundra, also with the bad engines, they're also not selling well, and people want to trade them in, and there have been rumors that some dealers don't even want to take them back on trade. And while companies like Stellantis selling products like Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and even Maserati and Alfa Romeo, they're looking at shedding some of those manufacturers. They're looking at shedding some of those brands because they're not selling. Sales are in the toilet. Even with heavy incentives, they're not selling. Even products like Nissan can't sell very many vehicles. They've had to highly incentivize a lot of these vehicles to the customers, but also incentivize to the salespeople, give them a higher flat rate just to pitch some of their older models, the 23s and 24s. They're not selling. As a matter of fact, in the first half of 2024, they're down 99% on their profits. Absolutely devastating. We've also seen car companies like Tesla waver whether they're going to bring in a cost-effective car or not, but they finally said, yes, we have to do something. The customers aren't buying the more expensive models, so we have to do something to motivate. Car companies like Fisker, out of business. It's clear that people are not buying, and they don't have the money because the cost of living crisis is cleaning out everybody's bank account. But the cost of living crisis is taking a real toll when people are just trying to afford a roof over their head or food in their mouth. They're struggling to pay for a new car. All these great new technology is wonderful when you read it in the magazines, but then you get stuck with $1,000 or $1,500 a month car payment. That's just way too much. Buyers are looking for options. So according to iSeeCars.com, they've been doing some trending and pulling up some statistics, and their look since 2014 to today, they've seen a sharp 30% increase in the amount of vehicles that are purchased over 10 years of age because of the sheer cost. Now, many people are looking at vehicles like this that are $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 brand new, and while everybody wants a brand new shiny car with all the latest technology and the greatest drivetrains, that's simply too much money for a lot of people to afford. And people are looking at vehicles like this. The Volkswagen Golf R, like we have right here, is several years old, and instead of getting the latest and greatest with all the dual clutch and the slight tune-up, you can get the slightly older version that's got some miles on it and some years behind it, and people are looking at that instead because it saves them a lot of money. And many people are looking at these beautiful sporty cars and making a decision, I've got to be a little more responsible, and buying cars like this that are smaller vehicles, hatchbacks, sedans, wagons, vehicles that are just more practical and easier to justify. And often, instead of making the decision to buy a gas guzzler like this new Jeep Wagoneer like we're looking at right here, people are making a decision to buy a vehicle like this. Here we have a little Nissan Kicks right there, has the great little tail lights, great little style and design. And it's not the most quality vehicle, but it's affordable, it's low cost, cheap on gas, cheap to insure, it fits 4 to 5 people, and it's got a small trunk, which makes it easy to live with. So all this popularity in the purchase of older vehicles because they can't afford brand new just means that the older vehicles price tags are driving up too. Well, back in 2014, the average 10-year-old vehicle retailed for about $7,000 and change, whereas today it's well over 12 grand, which is about 80% higher than it was back then, clearly way beyond standard inflation rates when you incorporate the cost of living increases. So while many people are looking for older luxury vehicles like this SUV or these pair of Audis right here, which represents a lot of vehicle for your money, but they come with reliability challenges. Even SUVs like this cost more than their equivalent sedan version, because SUVs typically rise insurance prices, and people can't afford that either because insurance costs are going through the roof. Some people are deciding they want luxury cars and they'd rather buy an older luxury vehicle like this. Mercedes-Benz E-Class strikes as one of those that are top popular vehicles in the older used car segment that exceeds 10 years of age, simply because it's, I always wanted one of those, and that's what a lot of people are looking at. So now people are looking at beautiful SUVs like this gorgeous little Jaguar right here with the alloys, beautiful headlights, all kinds of greatness with that little kitty on the front. And it's a beautiful vehicle, but it's really more on the nice to have rather than the need to have, because even driving a beautiful Jaguar like this, the E-Pace, such as this one, means higher insurance costs, upfront purchasing power, bigger wheels and brakes. All the costs for maintenance and servicing go with that vehicle, and people are done. They don't have the money. Rather, they're looking at something like this, a little more responsible. Older vehicles like this Pilot by Honda, and of course it's a 4-wheel drive, gives you all the same capabilities, but with the infamous Honda reliability embedded under the hood there. So some of the most popular vehicles that are over 10 years of age that have grown drastically in popularity go something like this. We're talking about Hyundai Sonatas, Subaru Legacies, the Imprezas, even Mercedes-Benz has a C-Class as well as E-Class have grown massively in popularity in the last several years because people always just wanted to have one of those luxurious vehicles too. We also see the BMW 3 Series, the Nissan Altima, and the Honda Odyssey, just for a few that people are really scooping up just because they represent good value, bang for buck, and are becoming much more affordable at the 10-year mark. So we're transitioning for a lot of people to go away from vehicles, nice, big, beautiful luxury SUVs, sporty cars like the Mustang, two-door Mercedes-Benz vehicles like this, even luxury vehicles like the Audi S3, as well as the TLX here by Acura. And people are clearly saying, no, we don't need that. We actually need something much more affordable, cheaper on gas, cheaper to buy, cheaper to own and operate. Clearly, they're buying other cars instead. Like little Hyundais like this are very popular because they're cheap on fuel and not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Or even a little Chevy Cruze like this, not a high-quality vehicle. They've got engine problems, coolant issues, and potential transmission troubles. However, people are looking past that because it's still a cheap car to get into, so they're buying vehicles like the Cruze by Chevy. Even a Ford Edge like this may look like a hearse, but it's old and it's affordable, and it's a Ford, so it doesn't typically hold its value real well. So people are often buying vehicles even like this, even it's a smaller SUV. And I've seen many more of these vehicles pop up out of the woodwork here recently. Even smaller, older Mercedes like this. Talking about a little B-Class, yeah, you get the little scratched up alloys. People can look past that. The older technology, sure, you get some of the amenities that you get in some of the older vehicles or the newer vehicles, but in a B250 like this by Mercedes, you still get 4MATIC, which is the all-wheel drive system. You get most of the technology you could possibly dream of, but it's fuel efficient, it's cheap, insurance will be lower cost, and a lot of people just dream to sometimes have that 3-pointed star on the key fob, but without having to spend 6 figures. People are starting to learn. I mean, an SUV like this isn't the same as all SUVs. Look, this one clearly just had a windshield done on it, and this windshield only costs about $220 versus a Mercedes, and you think these are all the same, but this Mercedes windshield here has heads-up display, has all kinds of sensors built in, and ends up costing $3,000 instead. So it's not just the cost of purchasing. People know the association of some of these expensive luxury vehicles means I don't need that. So people now are making the choices. We're seeing the escalation since 2014. We saw a sharp increase since around 2020 is when we really started to see it take off. When the shortages of the chips meant that there was a shortage of brand new vehicles available and people had to start digging in to the used car segment. Well, that continued to drive the prices up. But now, as a result, we have not seen a decline since. It's been a steady uphill rise ever since, because even once the chip shortage went away and a lot of these vehicles became available in the new car market, a lot of these manufacturers justified it and put higher trim levels up, and the average transaction price went through the roof, which meant it pushed more and more and more people out of the new car buying experience, and instead they had to go to an older vehicle. So people are making much more affordable, practical, as well as responsible choices. A little Honda Civic like this is always a responsible choice. Also, little hatchbacks like this of any make and model are typically very popular these days, and people are buying them if they're 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 years of age, as well as even wagons like this are becoming very popular. A lot of people are buying these vehicles because of the increased practicality. You've got the 4 doors, you've got a trunk space, and it just makes a lot of sense. This one's 4Motion. And of course, a lot of vehicles are getting with all-wheel drive, even in the cars. They don't have to give up all of the amenities that you typically get with SUVs or a lot of the luxury cars. You get a lot of that in mainstream vehicles like this, even, for example. So less and less people these days can afford, nor do they even want to buy $80,000, $90,000 pickups like these Rams or like these Fords that cost $85,000. And even relatively reliable luxury cars like this still feel like that, a luxury, and something that most people aren't looking for these days. They've been priced out of the market. So what do you think that does to electric vehicles? Well, the sales are in the tank. GM's backing out, Ford's backing off and slowing down the output of their production. Tesla's seeing a lot of struggles. Their stock prices are dropping. The writing's on the wall. But it all comes down to price, and the cost of living crisis is destroying a lot of people's bank accounts, so they're looking for cheaper alternatives. Definitely check out what's going on there. Why is Ford in such dire straits, and why are they giving up the EV market? Hope to see each and every one of you in the next one. See you real soon. Bye-bye.